My parents told anybody I failed. I sat agilely at my brother's assurance dinner. Afresh, his fiancée looked at me and whispered, "Wait, you're Michael Carter?" The allowance stopped. Alike my ancestor couldn't speak. Hey, Reddit, I never planned to appear my brother's assurance dinner. Honestly, I wasn't alike declared to be invited. Afterwards, years of actuality branded the atramentous sheep of the family, the dropout, the disappointment, the failure I had developed, acclimated to actuality. Larboard out of annihilation ancestors related. Weddings, birthdays, alike anniversary gatherings had gone on afterwards a distinct alarm or text. But aback my accessory, Natalie beatific me, a aftermost minute allure with the simple message, "You should see this for yourself." Concern got the bigger of me. The banquet was captivated at a high-end restaurant my parents couldn't allow on their own, which told me appropriate abroad that Mark, my Orient boy adolescent brother, charge accept, been accomplishing well. He consistently was. Straight A's, scholarships, internships at blatant firms. Our parents had about erected an altar to his achievements in our active allowance aback we were younger. Every aberration I made, every amiss about face I took, was amplified by his perfection. So, I absolved in cutting a apparent button-D bottomward in slacks, activity absolutely out of place. No one accepted me. No one alike looked up. I had to tap my mother on the accept-aloof for her to blink in recognition. "Michael," she said flatly, as if I were some annoying ghost. I nodded, aloof capital to congratulate Mark. She didn't smile. Neither did Dad. Mark looked vaguely uncomfortable but managed a quick-bound nod in return. No hug, no welcome. I took a bench at the bend of the continued table, extreme from the spotlight, extreme from the couple. I noticed the abandoned bench beside me. Odd because it was the abounding house, about 30 people, best of whom I didn't know. Extended family, co-workers, a few friends. I almost affected the food. Instead, I watched, empiric, how my parents gushed over Mark's achievements like a burst record. My dad told the aforementioned adventure active about how Mark bought them a new dishwasher. My mom afresh how appreciative she was that Mark had proposed with a 2-carat diamond. Every book acquainted, like a quiet jab. This is what success looks like. And afresh amid through dessert, the aftermost bedfellow arrived. She was stunning. Not aloof in the accessible way, but in the way she agitated herself. Confident, poised, her continued covering still draped over her shoulders, heels beat cautiously on the balk as she apologized for actuality late. Mark stood to accost her. "Babe, we anticipation you weren't coming." "Sorry, aftermost minute assignment call," she said with a laugh. Her eyes scanned the table as she took off her coat. Aback her boring landed on me. She froze. There was a moment, almost a second, but it was unmistakable. Her announcement confused from accidental to puzzled, afresh to article deeper, recognition. She absolved boring adjoin the bench abutting to mine, the abandoned one. She sat bottomward. Carefully, eyes never abrogation me. Then, in a quiet articulation meant alone for me, she leaned in. "Wait, you're Michael Carter." I affronted to her, taken aback. I had an alien myself. No one had. "Yeah," I said slowly. "Do I apperceive you?" She didn't acknowledgment appropriate away. Instead, she looked aback adjoin Mark, afresh at my parents who were too abysmal in chat to apprehension us. "I'm Rachel," she said. "Rachel Langston. We met already years ago at a tech Acme in San Diego. You gave an allocution on adaptive AI applications. You formed at Nova Synth, right?" I bowed alone my fork. That allotment of my activity had been kept quiet, abnormally about my family. They knew annihilation about my work. They affected I bootless out of academy and went off the grid. They never agitated to ask why I didn't appearance up to ancestors' events. The truth, I'd been alive beneath a austere NDA for one of the best avant-garde AI development firms on the West Coast. Aback, I left. I took a massive buyout and started my own baby venture. I was quiet about it on purpose. I capital amplitude from them. They'd never accurate me, never believed in me. Why allotment my success? You bethink that? I asked, stunned. Rachel nodded, her articulation still low. I was a analysis intern aback then. Your allocution absolutely afflicted the administration of my thesis. I alike approved to ability out, but you affectionate of disappeared. I looked around. My dad had paused mid-sentence. My mother's eyes had bound on Rachel. She charge accept heard my name. Michael Carter. My dad afresh, louder now. The table fell silent. My uncle sat bottomward his. Wine glass. My aunt looked from me to Rachel. Mark's face was stone. Rachel affronted to join them, absent to the tension. You didn't acquaint me. Your brother was Michael Carter. There was silence. Thick, active blackout afore my mother let out. A affected laugh. Oh, Rachel, you charge be cerebration of accession else, or Michael. Well, he's had some adamantine times. He alone out of college. Spends best of his time accomplishing odd jobs. Isn't that right? I blinked slowly. There. It was the anecdotal they had told everyone. Rachel frowned. That's not what I heard. Michael Carter from Nova Synth is affectionate of a fable in my field. One of the youngest contributors to adaptive neural accent tech. Wait, are you a Daj that's not him? Before anyone could answer, I pulled out my phone. I opened my LinkedIn, handed it to her. She scanned it. Her eyes widened. Holy crap, this is you. My ancestor austere his throat, but he had annihilation to say. I stood up slowly. Yeah, that's me. The aforementioned Michael you all absentively to address off. The aforementioned one who, absent Christmas, birthdays, weddings, and not one of you any time alleged to ask why. I looked at Mark. Congratulations on your engagement. I fronted to Rachel. Nice seeing you again. Your activity to accomplish. An admirable accession to the family. Assuming you're accept with bodies who lie through their teeth. I started walking abroad and a baft me choir erupted. I heard my mom say my name. I heard accession alarm out. Wait, but I didn't stop. I stepped out into the algid night, affection pounding. I should accept acquainted angry, but I didn't. I acquainted free, but what I didn't apprehend as I accomplished the parking lot was the complete of abrupt footsteps abaft me. Michael, wait. I turned. It was Rachel. And the attending in her eyes told me this night was far from over. I fronted about as Rachel bent up to me in the parking lot, heels clacking adjoin the pavement. She was asthmatic but determined, like accession who'd aloof been hit with too abounding truths at already and wasn't accessible to airing abroad from any of them. Michael, she said again, slower this time. I had no idea. None of them any time said annihilation about what you absolutely did. I gave her an anemic smile. Yeah, they fabricated a biting of that. My parents didn't aloof avoid what I did. They rewrote it, affronted me into a cautionary account to accomplish Mark attending better. Rachel beyond her arms, algidity hardly in the cold. Is that why you abolished from everything? I nodded. Allotment of it. I didn't leave because I failed. I larbored because I succeeded. And they couldn't handle that it wasn't the aisle they capital for me. No degree, no hand-holding, aloof, raw accomplishment and risks that didn't fit their adaptation of me. We stood there for a moment in silence, the abroad, hum of cartage bushing the amplitude amid us. Afresh, she asked the catechism I didn't expect. Would you appear aback and please, aloof, for a few minutes? I aloft an eyebrow. Why? Because I don't appetite to be allotment of whatever deception is activity on in there, she said firmly. And I anticipate you deserve to be heard, not aloof tolerated. I let out a bendable laugh. You absolutely appetite me to go back in there and address a table abounding of bodies who absentively I didn't abide the moment I chock-full authoritative faculty to them? No, she said. I appetite you to airing in as yourself, not the adaptation. They fabricated up. You already befuddled the allowance aloof by existing. I appetite to see what happens aback you acquaint your side. I advised it. Every allotment of me capital to airing abroad and never attending back. But addition part, the one that spent years accustomed their blackout like a weight, capital to set it bottomward for good. All right, I said, let's go ruin dessert. Aback. We absolved aback and together. The allowance hadn't recovered. My parents were whispering furiously. Mark stood abreast the bar, staring at his drink. Anybody abroad had collapsed into awkward baby talk, assuming annihilation had happened. Rachel austere her throat. Everyone, she said loudly. I aloof capital to say article absolute quick. The allowance affronted a joiner. She looked at me, nodded once, afresh stepped aside. I didn't charge to accession my voice. The blackout did the assignment for me. I never asked to be the centermost of annihilation tonight. I came to say congratulations. Anticipation I'd sit quietly, smile, eat dinner, and leave. But apparently, like my blackout is too loud for this family. My mother opened her mouth, but I cut her off with a glance. You all wrote me off years ago, and I let you because it was easier than angry to be heard. But here's the truth. I didn't beat out because I couldn't handle school. I alone out because I got an action from Nova Synth, afterwards an AI competition. The affectionate of action bodies dream of. I formed there for 5 years. Contributed to breakthroughs you've apparently apprehend about an account you never affiliated to me. I've back congenital my own company. I'm accomplishing well, added, then well, gasped. A few exchanged glances. My uncle, a breast article to my aunt, who was now absolutely alert. My ancestor stiffened. Why didn't you any time acquaint us? I gave him a continued look. Because you never asked. You aloof assumed. You abounding in the blanks with whatever ill-fitted your story. Mark assuredly batten up. You consistently fabricated aggregate about you, Michael. I fronted to him surprised. Really? I was the one missing from every ancestor's photo for the aftermost 10 years. You had every holiday, every moment. You got the house, the pride, the spotlight. And still, you anticipate I'm the one who fabricated it about me? He shrugged. You didn't accomplish an effort. I stared at him. I fabricated the effort. You aloof didn't appetite it. I beatific cards, larboard voicemails. But think aback, Mom had anaplasty 5 years ago. I flew out to see her. She told the nurses I was an acquaintance visiting from assignment because she didn't appetite them to apperceive I was her son. That was the moment I gave up trying. A calm fell over the room. My mom looked like she'd swallowed glass. My dad's jaw clenched, but he said nothing. Rachel stepped advanced again. I don't affliction what belief you've been told. But the man I met years ago afflicted the way I think, and tonight I watched the allowance abounding of bodies try to coffin that accuracy aloof because they didn't accept it. She affronted to Mark. If you aria about your own brother, what abroad did you lie? About? He looked stunned. What are you talking about? You told me he confused abroad. Afterwards he got arrested for burglary from a client. That he was abashed and larbored the ancestors in ruins. That's what you said at brunch with your friends. The claret drained from Mark's face. My mom attempted him an admonishing glance. Rachel looked about the room. If this is how this ancestors operates, I'm not abiding I accord here. Afresh, she affronted to me and said article I'll never forget. You're the alone one actuality I absolutely trust. It hit like a sledgehammer. I didn't say annihilation else. I didn't charge to. I absolved out afresh, and this time I wasn't stopped. Rachel bent up to me in the hallway. Where are you going? She asked. Home, I said. A back to my absolute life, the one I congenital afterwards their permission. She smiled. Mind if I tag along? I blinked. You serious? I was austere the moment I accomplished you were that Michael Carter, and alike added austere the moment I saw the attending on your parents' faces. We stepped al fresco together. For the aboriginal time in years, I didn't feel like the ancestor's abortion or the airy sun. I acquainted like accession who had annihilation. Larbord to prove and accession assuredly apparent for who he absolutely was.